Hello and welcome to the HEALcast. I'm Bobby, here with my awesome co-host.
I'm Morgan. Hey,
And
Bobby, how are you?
honestly living the dream. Can't complain. It is Thursday, August 13th. Go back to school here next week. I'm pumped, excited to get out of my house, get out of this basement, say goodbye to Gloria Estefan in the corner over there, um, and get back to school. How about you? How you doing?
I'm good. I finished my last day of work yesterday, so I'm looking forward to I guess it's almost exactly 1 week before I have to go back to work at school. So this is like my only week in a long time that I've had not no responsibilities, but as close to no responsibilities as you can get. So I'm looking forward to just getting ready to go back to school and start with those responsibilities again.
Right?
That's basically what adulthood feels like, just more and more responsibility.
Learning to adult. Yeah, I just finished my last shift at Party City. Thank God.
What's the
Anyways,
slogan? More party for less?
yeah, when nobody has more party for less.
There you go.
Oh, what a great store. Don't go there. Either way. Uh, so yeah, today's guest, good friend of mine, good friend of the podcast, I guess, right?
He's
Um,
actually in the waiting room, yeah.
oh wow. Okay, we should probably hurry this up
I'm
then.
gonna let him in and then we'll intro him. Sound good?
That sounds fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're here with Matt Giuliano, who Matt, you can actually just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself if you want.
Yeah, well, my name's Matt, as Bobby said. So I just graduated from Penn State in this past May, and it was really great to be involved with such a great organization like HEAL for the whole time that I have been throughout college. All my time there, I was really involved, and it was really something that allowed me to make a lot of really good friends and just have a good time with, be myself, and really make a big impact on the lives of our families and all these children's lives.
Yeah. So
You
go
go,
ahead,
Bobby.
Morgan. Okay. Do you
That
want
was
to
a
just?
okay, go. Oh my gosh.
We're bad today. All right.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to tell us a little bit about your involvement in Heal? Sort of like what you did, how you were involved, rather.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started out as just a general org member for my first couple of years, and then I was on the executive board twice. I served as a donor relations chair for Thon 2018, and then I was the outreach chair and president for Thon 2019, and then I decided to focus on other stuff for Thon 2020. But I was still involved with Heal. I just focused on my committee.
Awesome. And you also danced in Thon 2018, correct?
Correct. Yes, I did.
Nice. Proud of
Thank
you.
you. I was very, very excited. It was something I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. So being able to represent Heel and the Tuckies was really great for me. I was very proud of myself and thankful that everyone put their trust in me for that weekend.
Great to hear.
So you got your shirt on. I know people won't be able to see it when they're listening, but you have your old heel shirt, right?
I do the Becca Strong T-shirt, the baseball tees.
Yeah, didn't you design those? Was that your year? I think it was,
Yeah,
right?
yes, it was the year I was outreach.
Yeah, you guys
Wow.
had some good merch that year. We got the baseball caps that year, those shirts. All
Yeah,
the
I really enjoyed making all that. It was really cool. Brandon and I think did a really good job, and lots of help from like M. Foster and a bunch of other people that year. So we really had a good group of people working on merch that year.
So, Matt, you're kind of the, I guess, like the group grandpa for back, like lack of better terms, right? You are the oldest Heal member that a lot of like the current members will know because you were a fifth year senior. Um,
Correct.
so how can you just kind of speak on how things sort of changed over the 5 years you were involved with Heal and what you saw go through the org?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the big things that changed for me was people started to get more involved. I know that was something when I was on exec, we prided ourselves in every year. We always wanted to get more and more people involved because we did want to grow as an organization. I mean, one of the things we have always prided ourselves in was being that small organization, but there's always room for growth. And as long as we kept that same small family feeling, I think it was something we definitely could have achieved. And I think we did a fantastic job of that. We always have. We've always been a very close knit group and built friendships that are always going to last. And I just think we did a fantastic job with that. And we've been able to provide a lot of support for our Thon families and raise a lot of money for a fantastic cause.
I agree. Our friendships will definitely last. I cannot imagine a world where we are not friends. So,
Wow, I completely agree. Morgan, same to you.
yeah, you too, Morgan. I guess you're allowed to
I
be a
don't
part of this.
I don't date back to like the cranberry days, but yes, I do agree. You guys were friends what in high school?
Yeah, I met Matt Giuliano my freshman year of high school. We played volleyball together.
Volleyball.
That's
And by
right.
play, we actually played the same position, which was captain of the bench, because neither one of us played at all. But it was tons of fun, and it was a great time. I learned a lot from Matt, just like as a person. So thank you, Matt, for being a great inspiration to me. Um, but yeah,
Wow, you're
so
gonna make me blush.
yeah, right. I know it's fine. It's a podcast, so most of the people won't actually watch on YouTube, and if they do, then they'll see your cute little face. But so anyways, um, do you want to talk about? I mean, what you were donor relations, outreach, and president at one point for Heal. So do you want to kind of just talk about how that was? I guess, right?
Yeah, I can talk about all that. So, I mean, being that I was the president for Thon 2019, I've been able to kind of oversee almost everything that I haven't worked directly with. I know one thing that I've always prided myself in was we were part of the donor relations series that rolled out Donor Drive for the first time during Thon 2018. That was a very tough time for Thon as a whole because our biggest fundraiser at the time, which was canning, a lot of people listening might not know what canning is. A lot of alumni will know what canning was. It was our primary fundraiser that Thon has since phased out, unfortunately, but it was great. And Donor Drive is meant to replace canning, replaces that face-to-face kind of fundraising that Thon so created. It was very beloved. But so rolling that out, it was very rough. My co-chair Nick Esposito and I really just kind of took it head on, and with help of Kim Kramer, we did a great job that year, I believe, and being able to roll it out. And I think we set a very good foundation for not only Donor Drive to keep being pushed in the future, but for other forms of alternative fundraisers now that uh, canning is no longer a thing.
So your year that Donor Drive was being opened, when did you guys find out that canning was no longer going to be a thing? Like, kind of when in the year was that all brought to light? I guess.
So, I mean, this is so long ago, but from what I remember, my freshman year was when the accident happened that made them decide to phase out canning. So my sophomore year, there's usually 3 canning trips a year. My sophomore year, there was only 2, and my junior year, there was only 1. So that was when they had really started to phase it out. So we knew for a while that it was coming, but until the beginning of our junior year, which was the year of Thon 2018, there was no alternative to canning. I mean, there was canvassing, but not a lot of people like to do canvassing. It's kind of awkward and feels very forced. So there was no alternative to canning, and that's where Donor Drive kind of stepped in.
Okay, because I'm a donor relations chair, and I actually did not know that Donor Drive only came in like what the year before we were freshmen.
Yep.
I think in my mind, I always thought that it was canning as well as Donor Drive. I don't know if I ever fully knew that that was canning was truly the main fundraising source. I thought it was kind of in addition to Donor Drive. I remember my freshman year, I was interviewing for donor relations, and I think it was either a few days before or a few days after my interview that we found out we were no longer going to have ribboning or canvassing, and the effect that I definitely felt, because I remember interviewing for that position, really hoping to be able to bring ribboning and canvassing just to another level, like everyone does every year, and kind of feeling that change. But I think that the biggest thing with Thon is that you realize that everything's always changing, no matter what it is.
Yeah, and before we get any further, I'll just go ahead and, in case anyone is unfamiliar with what canning was, canning is kind of something that really was synonymous with Thon. Uh, it's you would see kids all over, not I mean college students, not Thon kids. Some Thon kids did can, I believe. Either way,
Like it did.
you would
Like it
yeah.
did.
You would
Yep.
take it was like an old coffee tin or something, and you would
Literally,
just yeah, a big can, and you would stand outside of businesses, on the corner of the street, with a sign that says you're involved in Thon and you're looking to raise money, and that's how a lot of the money came in. People would just pass by, put a couple cents in, a couple dollars, um, and that was a huge fundraiser. There were some issues with the idea of traveling to do those, and Dawn decided that no longer an acceptable way or acceptable risk that they're willing to take, and sort of phase that out. Canvassing, on the other hand, that's canvassing and ribboning both stayed around for about 2 or 3 years after canning, but for the same reasons were also ended. But canvassing is just going door to door and asking for donations, and ribboning is where you set out. Um, we were giving away ribbons, which is why we were calling it ribboning. But people would donate money in exchange, would receive a ribbon or some sort of token, just as like a thank you from us to them. But yeah, great insights, Matt. I actually had no idea. It's weird how quickly some of these things can be normalized, and how some of us have been around Thon for so long and just not know that this wasn't always a part of it. And it's really cool to have people like you on here that know that and to get that knowledge out. So yeah, so that's donor relations. Next on the list was outreach, right?
Correct.
Let's hear about it.
Outreach, man. What one of the most fun positions you can have. I mean, you're organizing all of our social events, getting together members. Really want to create that bond that you can get. We want to bring all these freshmen and all these new members, whether they're sophomores or junior transfer students from branch campuses or even seniors. We want to bring people in and get them incorporated into our org as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible. We want them to get to know the families so they can build that relationship and really buy into our mission as a whole. And on top of that, you're designed with coming up with all the designs for merch for Thon Weekend, for the Final Four, just different merch that we do sell throughout the year and provide to our Thon families as well. So really, it's a very wholesome position because you get to do so much for everybody.
Definitely. And I know we talked about it on last episode of the podcast when we had Carmen on, but I mentioned my hat, my very special heel hat, and Matt actually did design that hat. So he did an awesome job as an outreach chair. He actually put in the effort to make sure he was producing quality things that people actually would buy, and I think our total definitely showed that. We had a great fundraising year that year, and I think our outreach stuff had a big part in that.
Well, I will tell you what, Bobby, I can't take all the credits for the hats. Kylie Whitehead did a fantastic job on those.
Okay, my bad. Credit where
So,
credit's due. Sorry, Kylie.
So, Kylie, if you're out there, I'm not going to take your credit. That was all of you. So we really appreciate that. It was nice to have her and Foster step in towards the middle of the year and help out because I did have the president roles as well. So they were, I was very thankful for both of them and anyone else who stepped in to help during that time.
Definitely.
And lastly, what was your experience like as president?
Oh my gosh. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I wouldn't have changed it for the world. Very busy. As you can imagine, being a club president is very busy. You're in meetings multiple times a week, whether it be meeting with the exec board, meeting with FR liaisons, com liaisons, meeting with the general org. You get to run the meetings, which is fantastic. You really get to know everybody, and you get to kind of bring your energy and share it upon everyone throughout the meeting. And, on top of that, I was also on dance relations, so it was a busy year for me. I pretty much only did Thon that year, which not a bad thing. I mean, I loved it, loved every second of it. But it was really tough for me at times because, especially Thon Weekend, where I would want to be in the stands with the org, and I would have to go take care of my dancers for 7 hours. And I just really felt bad at times because I couldn't give it my all. And, I mean, I was exhausted, so I would want to go home and sleep because I would have to be there for not one but two dancers while I was there. But really being able to kind of oversee the operation, help out everyone where they need help, or just be there as a guide to help them answer any questions was fantastic. I highly recommend it to anybody. So always put yourself out there and apply. I think Ethan did a great job last year. And I think Maggie's going to do an even better job this year. So I just believe that there's room to improve every year. We're going to keep on keeping on and have some great presidents. It started from the bottom in 2012, and now we're here. 2011, excuse me.
2011.
we
Blasphemous.
debated, we
I
debated
know.
the first year for a while, I think, on the first podcast, but it is 2011,
We
correct?
figured that out.
So technically, the first year is 2010. The first Thon year is 2011. So
Okay. Well, yeah, because it's always kind of funny because we're talking about Thon 2021 right now, but we're not in 2021. But since we'll be in February at that point, it's always a little funky trying to get that all put together. But I guess it's really the year that those seniors are graduating would be the Thon that is.
correct.
So you were both, Morgan and Matt, you were both members of dancer relation committees. Can you guys, I guess, just talk a little bit about what sort of differences in responsibilities, I guess is the word I'd use there, between being an exec member for HEAL and being involved in a committee?
Morgan,
Yep.
I'll let you go ahead and touch upon that, and then I can talk about being a weekend warrior a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay, awesome. So just to touch on basically what a committee is, I think we've talked about this
Yeah.
before, but just to go over it really quickly. Every year for whatever Thon year it is, there's captains. And so one of the specific directors is dance relations director, and then under that director there are a bunch of captains. I couldn't even tell you how many. And each of those captains have a role in that Thon, and making sure that the dancers are safe, well taken care of. And underneath those captains are committee members. So each committee member is assigned 2 dancers, sometimes 3, but a dancer pair. So dancer pairs can sometimes be 2 people, sometimes they're 3 people. I know this year for HEAL we had 5 dancers, so there was one pair who was 2, and then there was a triple, so there were 3 of them. And you are basically responsible for looking after those dancers for the full 46 hours. So your job kind of evolves, I would say, throughout the weekend, which is what I learned for sure. The beginning few hours is definitely a fun-filled time. Everyone's super excited. You're learning the line dance. Everything, it just feels so new. You're taking in all the things, and then as the weekend kind of wears on, so do the dancers. Of course, they're awake for so long. I think something that gets overlooked a lot of times is that even though Thon is 46 hours, those dancers have been awake much longer than 46 hours. They don't wake up at the time that the clock starts and that's when they start. They're awake, getting ready, preparing their bags. They're in the place that they are before they enter the BJC. So they're in, I think it's the multi-sport complex, and then they enter the BJC. So by the time that they even stand to begin that, those 46 hours, they've been awake for probably 8 to 10 hours to start. So it's a super exhausting process. I've never danced. I know Matt can definitely talk about that. But you're basically just making sure throughout the weekend that they're stretching, which is super important. Eating, not falling asleep is super important by the end of the weekend. I know I had a dancer tell me she thought she was going to fall asleep standing up, which is quite fun at like hour 40. All of those different things. So you're just trying to take as best care of them as you possibly can and help them to get through that weekend. And Matt, you can continue on whatever I missed.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of like what you said earlier, I think when I danced at the end of the day, it was about 60 hours that I was up total from that Friday morning until that Sunday night that I was up. So it is a much longer than you would think, and you're getting stuff thrown in your face the entire time. But I think Morgan did a great job of summarizing it. You're pretty much the motto of DR is you're there for the dancers so they can be there for the kids. That's the most important thing at the end of the day. We're there to get them through the weekend as painlessly as possible. There's no way of sugarcoating it, but it sucks when you dance. It is painful, but you just got to keep on keeping on and get through it. So Morgan did a good job of talking about it. And then my second time on DR, which is this past Thon 2020, I was a weekend warrior. There's about 700, give or take a few dance relations committee members. And there are, I believe there was 38 weekend warriors, if I'm not mistaken. So the weekend warriors are kind of there for the committees when the captains can't be there, if they're doing a line dance or if they're on a sleep shift. Pretty much, we checked up on all of our committee's dancers. So I was responsible for my 3 dancers this year, as well as the 67 other dancers that my committee had, along with my co-weekend warrior. We call them WeWas. So it's pretty much just dancer relations on steroids. You're constantly checking stuff, making sure everyone's doing all right. If someone needs help, you got to get there and help them. Constantly reminding your committee when their dancers need their medications, anything like that. So you pretty much have 70 dancers, and it's just one thing after another. And one of the perks for it all is you get to be on the floor for the final 4. Can't take it all in as much as you do when you're in the stands or when you dance because you're working the entire time, but it's still great to be down there, and I wouldn't trade that experience for the world.
Yeah, Matt, you've been on the floor for 3 Final Fours? Is that correct?
So I was on the floor for the entirety of 2 Final Fours when I danced and when I was a weekend warrior. And then for about, time is like
Yeah, right.
it's a time warp. So I was on the floor and on the stage for the Tucky Speech-a-thon 2019, probably about 2 hours, I would say, give or take.
That sounds about right. So can you just kind of explain to some of us who haven't been down there for that, how does the energy shift, right? Because we know it's this for the first 42 hours, it's really kind of a celebration, and just making sure everyone's hyped up. But things kind of take a more somber tone as you hit the final 4, as you take some time to remember some people who have unfortunately lost this fight, some people who can't be there. And so, can you just let us know like how it changes? What's the feeling on the floor at that point?
Yeah, Bob, like you said, it's just very somber. They started off on a high note because they do the last 5 years line dances right before they start, which is awesome. It really gets everyone going. And I know it makes all the old heads like me and the alumni super excited in the stands. And it's like, oh, line dance from Thon 2016 was the best. Nothing will ever top it. And
Electrify.
still, that's right. And still to this day, it is the best line dance. But as you were saying, it's a celebration for those angels that couldn't be with us. And it's just a remembrance of them during the Final 4. So it's very somber, very sad. Not a dry eye in the Bryce Jordan Center. I'm almost tearing up just thinking about singing "Angels Among Us." It's just sad. It's really sad, but it's happy you're there with everyone, and you know that you've made such a positive impact on all the lives of these children. And then it's really tough for the dancers because you're standing still for such a long period of time, and your knees are tightening up, and people are getting ice baths, and they're really starting to hurt. So it really helps pass the time well, which is the one nice thing about it. And then about the last 45 minutes, usually Go Go Gadget, comes on for this awesome concert. One of the best parts of the weekend, and they really just give all the dancers that final push till the end.
Definitely, yeah, and I feel bad, especially for the dancers, because you're still able to head around back. A lot of people don't know that the floor at Thon is, yes, like the BJC, but there's also access to the locker rooms behind and all the corridors back underneath. So if you don't want to be out on the floor, that's where all the medication goes out. That's where a lot of the massages and stuff happen. So you are able to go back there during the Final 4 if you need to. I feel bad because a lot of dancers definitely probably should go back there and walk around a little bit, but they feel obligated to stay out for that because of the tone of the hours. So it's unfortunate. Obviously, that's the reason we're there, right? And it's so great. But yeah, it's definitely very, very tough on those dancers for sure.
Yeah, it absolutely is because, like you said, they want to go backstage, and even I feel bad when you're trying to walk through all the rows of people during like this super sad moment, and it's like, well, I kind of have to because I got to be checking up on dancers, making sure they're all right, and I just feel like a jerk because they're showing all the angels that couldn't be with us today, and I'm walking around like, you want a Gatorade, you want a water, you want to get stretched out, you want me to roll your feet. It's like,
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
it's like no, dude, I'm watching the video. I'm trying to, and I'm like, I'm just doing my job. I'm sorry. But it is a very wholesome experience.
Yeah. And like you said, there's not a dry eye in the Bryce Jordan Center.
Absolutely not.
No shame, I bawl my eyes out. Morgan balls her eyes out too. We do it together. So,
Yeah, gentlemen out there, it's okay to cry during the Final Four.
definitely.
Believe me.
It is always okay for women and men to cry, or anyone
That's right.
needs to cry to
Very
cry.
true.
No shame.
That's right, Morgan.
Words of wisdom today
True,
from Morgan.
yeah. It's always
The
okay
heel
to cry. Doesn't matter who you are.
The HEALcast is pro crying.
Definitely. We take a
Pro
firm
emotion,
stance.
everyone is allowed to have emotions. We all have them. You might as well feel them. Okay, moving on. What I was gonna say is, I know mentally, I guess it's been two-thon, so who am I to say always? But in my mind, I think, okay, we just got to make it to the Final Four. We're just gonna make it to the Final Four, and then it's just gonna be smooth sailing from hour 42 to hour 46. And then you get to the Final Four, and you're like, my feet still hurt.
Yeah, right.
I'm not crying, but my feet still hurt, and everything still hurts. And I know this year, I think my last shift for dance relations was a 7-hour shift going into I think like hour 40. So I was there for a while, nothing compared to the dancers, obviously, but I was already exhausted. And I remember seeing Bobby on the floor, and I'm the dance relations person. I'm supposed to be like taking care of my dancers, but I remember my one dancer was with his really good friend. They were having fun. My other dancer's parents surprised her. They didn't have floor passes, so they got on the floor. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm off duty for like a few minutes at least. I find Bobby and I just start crying. I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying, but I don't feel good. Like, I don't know what to do. It's so emotional. And then I think I didn't really ever stop crying until the end of Thon, because it's just quite the emotional experience. As a dancer, though, can you just kind of like tell us about the whole weekend? I know we talked a little bit about Final Four, but just kind of tell us about your full experience from hour one all the way on.
Yeah, I can. Well, it starts on Friday when you wake up. I had a quiz Friday morning, 9 a.m. So
We don't take those.
I took it. Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Now, usually we don't, but when you're not the smartest tool in the shed, see that? When you're not the sharpest tool in the shed, you got to take all your quizzes. So I had my quiz at 9 a.m. that morning, and then packing up my bag, and I was in the BJC, the multi-sport complex, a couple hours before Thon, getting ready, staying off your feet, stretching. And when you get in the BJC, they tell you to do the same thing. You get in there, you put your bags in your locker, and you stretch for as long as you can, and you sit down for as long as you can, because it's your last time until Sunday. But it's really great. I mean, the first probably 20-ish hours fly right by. I didn't want to know the time, but I felt like it flew by. So the way I saw it was there was two types of lows. There was a physical low and there was a mental low where you're just really bummed out. And as long as both didn't hit at the same time, you can get through it. PB&J was my elixir. That's what got me through it all.
How many PB&Js did you eat that weekend? Because there's a debate. We've talked about this before.
About me specifically?
Yes, because I had money down that you ate at least 46 PB&Js during Thon weekend. One for each hour.
I tried to eat about one an hour. So I probably only ate about 40 because of like when meals would come into play. So I probably ate about 40 though.
Okay, I'm pretty close then. Because you told me that before. And I thought it was awesome. I thought it was such a great way of doing it. It's so funny.
My goal right away was 1 an hour.
Such a Matt Giuliano thing to do.
The hospitality committee members are probably like, oh my gosh, he's back. You want enough PB&J.
They see this kid all the way back in line. They're like, peanut butter strawberry jelly, no crust. No, but yeah, so it was just really incredible to be down there. And then, as I was alluding to earlier, I hit a physical and a mental low at the same time Sunday morning at about 8 o'clock. And that was just absolutely awful. You can't think straight. Yeah, you can't feel the bottom half of your legs. And it was just so miserable. But at the end of the day, you just got to remind yourself that what you're going through in that moment in time is minimal compared to what the Thon children have all gone through. And that's what helps you get through. It helps you get through and keeps pushing on. I know I never hallucinated from what I remember, but there was periods of time where I would black out and I just wouldn't know. Like, this performer came on, I don't remember, and it was just so. It's like a time is a vacuum, and it's like it just goes by so quickly, and it just feels like you're there all weekend. But at the same time, it's like I was only here for 20 minutes. But being able to take everything in, seeing some different performers, and then the line dances come on to signal the start of Final Four. And then by then, I've always said if you make it to the Final Four, you're going to make it to the end because that 4 hours is the quickest of the weekend.
What did you do during that low other than PB and J at 8 a.m.?
2 PB&Js, Morgan.
3 actually, Bob.
Yeah,
excuse you.
My bad.
So
Get up for the other hours and you didn't eat them.
Yeah.
So what I did was I had 2 bags of ice. One I had on my neck. Never put it on your head. Always put it on your neck. Tips out there if you don't want your dancer to faint, and if you just introduce the cold to them too quickly on top of their head, they might faint.
Oh, I probably should have known that before I was.
Yeah, probably. But hey, it's okay. So
for Morgan.
So for your future DRCMs out there and dancers, ice always on the neck, especially that late in the weekend. And then I had my feet in the bag of ice as well because my feet were hurting so bad, and the line for ice baths was too long. And my DRCM, bless her, she didn't want me to stand in that line so long, so she just walked in, got me a big bag of ice for my feet, and I stood in that for probably 10 minutes and ate my PB&Js and just kind of.
Explain this bag of ice, right? It's a big bag of ice. Is it just on your feet, or did you take your socks and shoes off and you just open it up and start splashing around?
So it was like a gallon size freezer bag, maybe a little bit bigger. Not a freezer bag, but like that style of bag. It's not like those big bags of ice you get at a gas station.
Correct.
But shoes and socks were off. I mean, when you're a dancer, there's pretty much no rules.
Yeah.
So 2 people have no rules Thon weekend. Thon children and dancers. There's pretty much no rules for you. So in the middle of the medical hallway, shoes, socks came off, handed them to my dancer. God bless her, because they probably smelled really bad, and the feet went right into the ice.
That's awesome.
I'm telling you, it was fantastic.
And did you switch to Crocs after?
I did flip-flops. I'm not a Croc guy.
Got it.
The Crocs were still out when I danced. That's how old I am. So Crocs weren't back in style yet. If they ever went out of style, I don't know.
Didn't you dance with Emily Foster? I think she used Crocs too. Well, maybe she just didn't care. She was in fashion. I mean, are they fashionable?
Emily Foster, anything she puts on is fashionable.
True.
I can't say enough good things about Emily Foster.
There you go. I know.
But yeah, I was a flip-flop guy. I wanted my feet to breathe a little bit.
I think I'm definitely a socks and Birkenstocks type of guy. If I ever do it, I'll
like
do
that.
Socks and stocks.
Well, I had my feet and my ankles taped at that point in the weekend, so I guess it was kind of like having a
kind of right?
sock on. Yeah, kind of.
So, can you give me your favorite memory from dancing, whether it be a performer, something that happened, something you did?
So when I was dancing, this was I think there was 2 Thons in a row. When a lot of Thon families weren't able to come because there was I believe it was a measles outbreak right before Thon on campus, and it just wasn't safe for a lot of Thon children that were in remission or still in active treatment. So there weren't many Thon children on the floor at all. And unfortunately, the Tuckies were not able to come the weekend I danced. And Kim, Skylar, Foster, and we were super, super bummed out about it because, as you both know, and as a lot of our listeners know, how much Becca and the Tuckies are on the floor Thon weekend, and that's just, it's like your go-go juice, man.
Definitely.
It gets you going. But I don't remember who organized. I think it was our DRCMs. I just remember getting dragged into a hallway right before Final Four and getting to FaceTime the Tuckies, which was incredible. Getting to see all of them from their house and kind of share just a few quiet moments with them before we headed out for that last push. So it was quite the surprise, and I definitely needed that to get through the weekend.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. Yeah,
That's
it's definitely tough, and you don't think about it, right? So these last 2 years, we've been super lucky that the Tuckies and I mean, this last year we also had the Hesses. Um, both our families were able to make it, but it has got to be so challenging for these orgs that have families that can't come because that is, we support them as an org together, but in those moments that you're lowest, I mean, really, your families bring you up as a dancer for sure. So it's got to be tough
Absolutely.
not having them.
Yeah, we've been super lucky, me and Bobby at least, that our families have been there both ons, and I hope this coming year that we get to have that same thing. I mean, I know there's a lot of unknowns in this world, so we will for sure see what happens with Thon 2021, but fingers crossed.
You're right there, Matt. He's looking
Yeah,
for
any
Yeah.
comments? Matt's over there.
Yeah, if you
I
guys aren't
muted
watching,
at that time.
yeah, he actually muted. He was coughing a little bit. He's choking,
Oh, okay.
choking on some water. It's okay.
Water
It
went down the
happens.
wrong pipe there.
Happens to the best of us.
That's
So,
right.
speaking of coughing, coronavirus. How do you think that's gonna come into effect on 2021?
Oh, man. I just really hope you guys are going to be able to have Thon weekend. I mean, in a perfect world, we'll have a vaccine a couple months before then. I wouldn't be surprised if Thon pushed back the actual event. I know they have set the date already, but I would hope they push it back and do anything they can to have that celebration. If not, though, I'm confident in all of you guys, all you students out there listening, Tuckies and Hesses. I'm confident that you're all going to be able to put on even a mini-thon or quite a spectacle of events that weekend and do whatever you guys can if we're still living in this coronavirus world. But throughout the year, I'm just really excited to see what you guys do, whether it be Zoom meetings or I would assume you're not allowed to meet in person. I'm not that plugged into the university anymore.
Yeah, we don't.
Graduated.
We don't really. Yeah, they haven't given us a lot of communication on that. I guess it's a lot of work for the university going on right now, and this club stuff is sort of on the back burner, which is understandable. Hopefully, we'll find out soon. But yeah, it's just kind of playing by ear. We got to be flexible. We got to roll with the punches. We got to adapt. We got to innovate this year. And at the end of the day, even if Thon doesn't happen, Thon 2021, is canceled. There's no dancers. I don't really think it matters because we're not doing this for the event of Thon or to dance or anything. At the end of the day, you're doing this to support your families and to raise money so that no child ever has to see a bill or no family ever sees a bill. So I really don't think you need the whole spectacle, the whole event. Sure, it helps. It helps publicity, and at the end of the day, it actually does help raise more money. But I think we can still do what we set out to do without the event. And I think we should all still, at the end of the day, be proud of ourselves and happy with what we do, and not necessarily upset about what we might not get.
That's a great way to put it, Bobby.
Thanks.
Great way to put
I
it.
tried. So.
Yeah, I think for now, my goal is to remain hopeful, and we're just going to do what we can with what we have. I feel like Heal's been pretty good at that. Basically, our whole existence, just doing the best that we can all the time, always making sure that we have our priority straight. We know what we want. We know we want to support our families. We know we want to have a great culture within our org, raise money, and I think whatever we're faced with, we're going to try our very best just to make the most out of it, and continue to ignite and electrify, as the 2016 line dance does say. Now that we said that, I'm like singing it in my head. I wasn't even at Thon 2016, but it is a pretty good line dance.
Is that 2016 Ignite Electrify?
It is. It is not. Unfortunately,
It's 2017, isn't it?
Is it 2017?
Yeah.
2016 is Blast Off BJC.
Blast Off BJC.
Yeah.
Can you feel that
energy? Didn't want to correct you earlier.
No, I knew it wasn't. I Ignite Electrify is my favorite line. And that's honestly, that was my my personal sort of like every time the line dance came on for this Thon 2020, if I was having a low or something, I would wait for Ignite Electrify and I would go crazy on those two words, and that'd get me pumped. I don't know why. I was probably sleep deprived. I was losing it, but yeah,
Just a little bit, right?
yeah, just a little.
One of my absolute favorite things to do throughout the year is to think about things that will go in to the line dance for that following year. Like every time something happens, like it'll go into that line dance. Um, just like so many current events, just funny things. And during quarantine, I was like, if there's not banana bread and oh my gosh, what's it called? Tiger King.
Yeah,
Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
In that line dance, like I don't know, I don't know what will be, because I feel like those were just like the main staples of, like, I kind of saw quarantine as like phases, and that was like right at the beginning. We didn't know how long it was going to be, and everyone had those bananas going bad and their Netflix subscriptions, and that's what we were doing. So, like, there you go.
that's
Yeah.
actually
Well,
that's a great topic we can jump into. Matt, what do you expect to see other than the very low hanging fruit of Tiger King, quarantine, and banana bread? What are you looking to see in Thon 2021's line dance?
all right. Well, first, I just want to plug my Twitter at Matt Giuliano. I
Okay.
have been doing a prediction. This is my fourth thon in a row where I'm trying to predict what all's in the
Have you
line
really?
dance.
I
Yes,
did
it's
not
my
know
Love
pinned
that.
that.
tweet. It's my pinned tweet on Twitter. I think last year I was 13 out of 19 with my guesses, so pretty good. Um,
I'm gonna
but I
pull.
think one of the big things about the Thon line dance this year is going to be the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that's something that's really starting to shape our country, and I think you're going to see at least a couple lines dedicated to this whole resurgence of Black Lives Matter and what it means to a lot of people.
Definitely. I agree. Go ahead and plug your Twitter one more time, Matt, so everyone can check out your predictions, even when
Pull
you're
up
not on
your.
the podcast.
Yeah, that is at Matt Giuliano, MattJuliano. So I've got
Awesome.
my current thread for Thon 2021 pinned. But if anyone ever wants me to, I can always bump from the old threads.
Super exciting. I didn't know you did that. I can't wait to check out, keep up with you, do some brainstorming, see if we can figure out some of those. Yeah, there's always some things that like you hear them in the line dance and you're like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense that that's in there because that did happen this year," but I had no clue until you told me. Right? Like you
Oh
just don't
yeah,
think, like you don't see it coming and it makes total sense when it's in, but a lot of those like dark horse events it'd be fun to sort
right.
of brainstorm them.
Or it's like something that's like, man, that's right, that did happen, but it was
Yeah,
like back in March, so
exactly.
it's been a while. But
Wow,
So
you are pretty active on Twitter. I'm scrolling down to your 2019 to see how many's in here. I have not used my Twitter quite as frequently as you have. Wow, I'm impressed.
I'm a tweeter, I
Matt's
must say,
a little bit of a bird.
but just a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's all right. So I'm gonna kind of change gears on you, Matt. We talked a little bit last podcast episode about some of the people that sort of brought Morgan and I and her roommate Carmen into Heal, and some of the reasons that some of the people that really got us involved. And since you are a bit of an older head, probably the oldest head we personally know, I figured I'd ask you that question. What's sort of the story behind how Matt Giuliano landed himself in Heal, and who do we have to thank for that?
Yeah, so this is a story I do love to tell because I think it's very important, especially for newer members to hear. So my first Thon year was Thon 2016. So the fall of my freshman year, fall 2015, I went to the involvement fair. I did summer session, but it was the first week on campus for everybody. So everyone's a bit overwhelmed. And Thon was something I knew I wanted to be involved in back in high school. And I remember stopping at Heal's table and I was introduced to the president that year. His name's Charlie Morgan. Charlie's a great guy, and I remember talking to him Jill Borzos was the president that year, and Charlie was the one I talked to at the activity stand. And of all the special interest orgs that I talked to, Charlie and the rest of the Heal members were the only ones that I remembered by name. So that is what really brought me into Heal. Went to my first meeting, loved it. Didn't try out any other orgs. So that was it, one and done for me. But I'll always have Jill and Charlie to thank for that.
Awesome.
Just side note, I could not find the tweet. I was scrolling for a while. I feel rude though, not looking at you. I feel like a little kid on their phone at the dinner table, so I decided to get off my phone.
It's
If you
fine.
can pull that up though, I would love that.
Yeah, I will pull it up. We'll keep talking, and I'll search it and see if I can find
Yeah,
it.
listeners on Spotify and stuff can't tell you weren't looking, Morgan. Don't worry.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You sort of outed yourself there, but
Well, I mean, I told everyone what I was about to do, you know, but my parents always raised me to never be on my phone when I'm in the middle of a conversation, so I felt rude doing it.
Well,
hopefully Matt can pull it up faster than I can, probably because it's his own Twitter.
he seems to know how to do that, so.
Yeah.
That's the advanced search. Advanced search is all you got to do.
Add some pluses and put some minuses, right? That's all you need.
That's right, man.
What was I going to say? I think that's actually super cool. Your story about kind of how you got involved in HEAL. It's actually very similar to mine. I know I've talked about it in the past. Just meeting Britt and at the involvement fair, and I went to the first meeting and never looked back. It's crazy.
The rest was history, right?
Yeah. And Bobby, I know you have a little bit different story, but really you stayed because of Matt. You mentioned
that is true. Matt Giuliano is the reason I'm in HEAL. So
if
you love me, you can thank him. If you don't like me, then his door is the one to knock on because he is the one that got me in. So, yeah, thanks, Matt. I guess I do owe you more thanks than you could ever know for getting me involved in this awesome organization.
Oh, man.
Just being a part of this. So,
Bob, you're too kind.
I was so excited to get you on here.
I was excited to be on here.
Yeah, I think when Morgan and I sort of just like decided we were gonna do this as like, oh, let's just have a podcast and what can we talk about? And I was like, well, we'll talk about Thawne, right? We'll do HEAL. I think I texted you that day, and I was like, what would you think about Morgan and I doing a podcast? And I'm pretty sure your response was, it'd be really cool, but only if you take me as a guest. And I was like, oh, please. Multiple episodes. We could have an entire arc, the Matt Giuliano arc of this podcast.
Bobby, you're getting me super excited right now, man. I'm so down. Absolutely. But I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but I do have some of my old line dance predictions.
Okay,
let's hear them.
So a thread of things I think will be in Thawne 2020 line dance.
Give us a date too. When was the most recent addition to this?
So last Thawne.
This was last Thawne.
Yeah, but like, when were these predictions made? Were they all made at once, or do you add to this?
So they're not all made at once. It's usually a thread. This year I was actually accidentally deleted the tweet by accident, so I had to go back into my deleted tweets on Twitter and find out what all I had tweeted before then. So the thread technically starts on June the 4th of 2019, but it started way back in the spring. And the most recent tweet on that thread was February 1st, 2020. So up until 2 weeks before Thawne, I was predicting.
Okay.
So I'll just go through and read these 17 things real quick. Penn State Wrestling winning the national championship and all the solo titles.
That's a bingo.
Jonas Brothers at champs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over if this made it too. Let's say the thing and then say if it made it.
Okay, well,
actually, let's do this like a quiz. Let's do this like a quiz. Ask it, and let's see if Morgan and I can actually remember if it was in there or not.
Okay. The Notre Dame Cathedral fire.
It was not.
No, it was.
Was it?
It was.
Oh, yeah, I'm the worst. I wasn't even at Thawne. Get me out of here.
The Tiger Woods comeback when he won the Masters.
Yes.
That was.
Tiger back in green.
Yep. The final season of Game of Thrones.
That was, and it was something about a disappointment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Men's lacrosse winning the Big Ten.
I feel like it was. They always include the sports stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I also believe it was. Number 7, Aubon Payne being replaced by Panera on campus.
Yes.
Penn State ticketing going all electronic.
Yes, that was.
Did your football
ticket scan? Yes.
Well, that actually parlays into my next one. Penn State football ticket sales being a disaster.
Yeah. And side note, they were an absolute disaster. I remember waking up, like if you're going to go to a 12 o'clock game, you're probably up 7:30 in the morning, waking up 7:30 in the morning going to check that my ticket was done, and it wasn't there. So I had to buy a separate ticket to get in, even though I had the student ticket. It wasn't in my wallet by a certain time. And they're like, "We're so sorry, there's nothing we can do," which was extremely frustrating. Okay, sorry, that was just my little rant.
No, I
Continue.
think our first game of the season, I actually went without my ticket. It didn't show up, and the
Yeah.
people scanning had already turned some people down that they felt bad, and they let me in without a ticket. So that was super nice. Thanks to them. Saved me a lot of hassle. My parents have season tickets, so I would have stolen one of theirs, but it's all right.
It was, you know what? We will not have to worry about it this year, which is very unfortunate.
Well,
Sorry.
who knows? Who knows? Apparently, there's talks of a spring season.
Yeah. Okay.
Be
Continue.
hopeful.
Okay. Number 10. Trump setting foot in North Korea.
Nope.
No.
It was not.
I think they try to stay away from some political things.
They do. They do, except for it's always election year. There's always one. So you will see this one this year.
Yeah.
And back in 2016, there was one as well.
Yeah.
The U.S. women's national team winning the World Cup.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
The switch to Microsoft Teams for committees.
Yes.
The Dream Forward campaign, which was launched this past year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that
Love
was impressive.
Baby
You
Yoda,
really
love
did
you
it.
must.
That's right. Men's basketball getting ranked.
Of course.
Yeah.
Say it with me. B-ball school.
That was added. Was that your February tweet?
No, that was
February?
sorry. That was December 16th.
I think
2019.
Baby Yoda was the
Okay.
February 2. The February 2.
Baby Yoda was December 16th as well.
You are insane.
Wow. this
I'm
is-
on it, guys. I'm telling you, I live for this. I've slacked this year,
It's been
but I
tough.
usually am on top of it.
You know what? Too. You probably also have a pretty good understanding of when they make that line dance, and anything that happens close to the January retreat that the DR captains go on, it's gonna get put in there because I feel like that's really crunch time. You know, I know
It
they
is.
make lyrics throughout the whole year, but when they're sitting down, if it's fresh in your brain, I mean, I feel like it's just natural that things that you are experiencing are gonna go
Oh
in.
yeah. So I have two more, and then there's one that I explicitly left off, but I can explain that one.
Okay.
Okay.
So how about this? How about I know there's not many people watching on YouTube. How about I do the motion and see if you guys can guess what it was? Because I know this one was in the line dance.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let's try it.
It's like,
Oh, it's a TikTok.
yeah, yes,
I had-
TikTok, hashtag mood or something like that.
Yes. Why was that? Oh, it was left off because it's
No, it was on, but I tried to do the little dance. I'll get
Okay.
to the one that was left that I left off. And then my last one, February 1st, Baby Shark.
It was not.
A surprise omission from the line dance.
But it was played throughout the weekend. I remember them playing Baby Shark, just randomly.
Guys,
I-
Baby Shark is
in-
huge.
I think it was probably tough to add in because you kind of, if you're gonna start doing Baby Shark, you gotta do the motions, you know, like the clap. Maybe it was tough for them. I don't know, but I am surprised.
Baby Shark is a massive empire. I work at a party city, and let
Nobody
me tell
gets
you
more
guys.
party for less.
Yeah, nobody has more party for less. Matt and I joke about that a lot. But Baby Shark, they carry like all sorts of decorations for it and stuff, and I thought it was just this like silly YouTube video. But it's like a big thing. There's like balloons out for it and everything. Kids come in and have parties, Baby Shark themed.
You know what? I as much as I hate hearing Baby Shark for the sole reason that it gets stuck in your head and there's no way to get it out. I do appreciate it because I remember like my niece went through a phase of listening to that a lot, and it was like the only way for her to sit down and stay still for like longer than 3 seconds. So I think am forever indebted to that company and brand because she was in like, it was so hard. You're running around a little kid the whole time, and if you could just get her to sit down for that moment in time, I'm sure people listening, if you have children at home or you have nieces and nephews, you totally understand because it's okay for it to get stuck in your head if it means that you're not chasing around a little kid for a while.
Absolutely. So there was one last one, and a lot of people remember this when I talk about it, that was in the line dance. Kobe Bryant passing away. I actually excluded that because That happened a week after the line dance or the DR captains had their retreat. So I left it out. Didn't think they would go back and edit it, I guess you could say. But if you include that, which I would have put on, I was 13 of 18 this year. That is pretty good.
That
That's
is pretty impressive.
kind of insane, Matt. You're pretty good, and you gave me a really good idea. I really think playing some sort of like a game or something around Thon at the end of these podcasts is just gonna be a lot of fun. I think I'm gonna look into that for the next few episodes. So thanks, buddy,
You
for
should.
setting this up.
Of course. And while we're here, Thon 2019, I only got 6 out of 17. So I
Oh,
was
you want to
slacking
jump
a
into
little
that
bit
one?
there. If you guys want to, yeah, I got all
Might
that.
as well. Yeah, we might as well.
I feel like this is. I enjoy this. I hope other people do.
I hope
You can
so
play
too.
along at home.
I think
Yeah.
they have to.
Okay. A thread of things I think will be in Thon 2019 line dance.
Let's hear it.
The new Skeller.
It was.
Correct. Alumni rally, save the Skeller was the lyrics. Number 2, the diner closing.
That was in there.
I
That-
think.
The diner go.
Yeah,
Come
it
on.
was. I couldn't remember if I thought it might have been in 2020, but
No, I think that was 20. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, it was. That was the lyric though. Sad to see the diner go.
yeah.
Yep.
Get
And
your
just
pizza.
reference the last one I have from this thread was February 11th, 2019. So right up until Thon weekend
Okay.
as well. Okay. Number 3, France winning the World Cup.
That was
France.
There's-
LA Blue.
Yeah.
That's the lyrics right there. Yep. Number 4, the Capitals/Ovi winning the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
That was also in there. Caps, caps, caps. Raise the cup.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, the sports ones are really just a layup because they usually throw those all in.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But
This was
this-
break down BJC. You're correct. Yeah. Break it down. Yeah.
yes, it was.
Have to do the dance.
Justify winning the Triple Crown.
That wasn't in the line dance. I'm gonna come out and say it wasn't.
You were correct. But I don't know if either of you remember, several years ago, they put American Pharaoh on for winning
In-
the Triple Crown.
Correct.
So my tweet was verbatim, number 5, justify winning the Triple Crown. And then in parentheses, they put American Pharaoh on this. So this is for consistency purposes.
Okay.
And winning a triple crown is a huge deal.
Doesn't happen
It
very
is.
often.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Some form of the In My Feelings challenge.
Yes.
Mhm.
I
I don't think so.
Am I thinking of the right thing?
Isn't it the key?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That was on
Are you
it.
riding?
Yeah, that was on it. Number 7, something Fortnite related.
We know the answer to that.
The tower.
Hey, where are we dropping, Matt?
Tilted Towers.
Tilted
Yeah.
Towers.
Okay, this one was a bit of a stretch, but I threw it on there. I'll group these two together. Saquon Barkley's first career NFL touchdown.
I wouldn't. It wasn't the touchdown, but he was in there.
He was in there for his draft pick.
It was
You guys remember
Saquon
theirs?
drafted number 2, looking good in
Giants blue.
bright blue. Yeah,
Yep. Elton John's farewell tour.
that was not. My parents did go to it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it
That
wasn't.
is sweet. Hurricane Florence and Hurricane Michael.
No.
Yes.
Were they?
You should know this.
Side
You
note:
mentioned-
was Hurricane Sandy in the one year when Hurricane Sandy happened?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I think a lot of this comes down to, a lot of things happen, but if things happen close to Penn State or New Jersey, it's sort of the East Coast, there's a lot more attention on that because there are a lot more students from those areas, so it hits closer to home for those lyrics.
Right. Okay.
Which is why when teams, when the Caps won, it was a big deal because there's a lot of Capital fans up at Penn State.
Correct. Okay. Next one. Number 11. New Starbucks in the library.
No.
It's not.
That was new.
Yes. So they kind of revamped that whole
Yeah.
area of the library.
There was a
Okay.
Starbucks in there to begin with, though, right?
It was called McKinnon's Cafe.
Okay.
Is what it was called.
It was something.
And it,
Mine's always way too long. I never.
Oh, I always
that
do.
that one was new too this year, from what I remember.
Yeah.
I'm talking the whole different wing of the library, which actually isn't even in there anymore because they revamped that whole side of the T.
Yeah, you're right.
The California wildfires.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they were. You just had the lyric here a second. Fires rage day and night, fighting back with all our might.
Yeah.
Yep. And you grab onto your backpack during that.
And you punch, right?
I think it was just like a boxing shuffle.
Yeah.
So let's see. All right. Something about Mason Ramsey's rise to fame.
Well, he was there.
It was. He
Okay,
was.
and
Yeah.
It
Was
wasn't.
it?
We did the.
So
he started to
Oh,
dun,
you're
dun, dun.
right. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
true.
get
He's
any
in there, of
lyrics,
course.
but
And
yeah.
then it goes into Walk It Like I Talk It, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he's in it. He was the special guest. So.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, this one is the second to last one. I'll skip this and go to the last one. Patriots winning the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually
Was it?
don't know if it was on.
I don't think it was.
It was not. Now that I'm looking back on it.
What?
Yeah, it's in February, so they probably had the line dance made already.
That's true, actually.
But
When the Eagles
This-
won, though, they were in there, I believe.
yeah, that's a little. I mean, like we said before, that goes along with the theory of being closer to Penn State.
Go
that
Birds.
that was just bad judgment on my part. But here's one that I believe didn't make it on it, but
You
in my
spoiled it.
opinion should have. Well, sorry. Yeah, I did ruin it. The polar vortex, if you guys remember that, we had school canceled
Oh,
a ton. that
Well,
winter.
so in
Oh,
a way,
it was snow days back to back.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
yeah,
Big brain, Morgan.
There was no El Nino mentioned, but it was snow days back to back.
Well, remember when it was
Wow.
so cold that we didn't have class, but everyone was out anyway? I
was
remember
playing
when
in
my
the snow.
professors being like, I don't understand why we didn't have class because I saw all of you around campus yesterday. And I was like, oh, well. it's not
Oh,
wrong.
yeah. Yeah, but like, looking at these lyrics right now, there's some good ones. Save the bees with Garden Gate.
Yeah.
Yep.
High rise here, new dorms there, renovations everywhere.
Get your pizza
Get
in a snap.
in a snap.
Snap pizza.
The Thailand cave rescue mission. I forgot all about that until I read these
With
lyrics. So,
Elon Musk.
mm-hmm. So there's some good ones in there, but I think those are the only 2 years I've done it. So
Well, awesome. That
I
was
love that. You know what? I want to do that. I know little plug for the future. In I think 2 weeks, we just confirmed it. We will be having some co-founders of Heal on, and I am going. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't say it because then they're going to be able to study.
I have
I'm
some
going
plans.
to go back, watch those things, and it's going to be quiz time.
Oh
We're
wow,
going to
they're
see if
gonna.
they can remember.
They're gonna be on their honor system because they're
You know what? If they go back and study, more power to them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see.
I've got some ideas for some fun ones we could do. I have one for next week's guest, which we'll keep that a surprise, Morgan. But we have
I don't think that one was confirmed. Anyway, we don't have an exact time, so we
Okay,
can't
well,
talk about it.
maybe not next week, but
No, we got some really fun tricks up our sleeves, people. So, and Matt, I'm so glad that we just did that. That was super fun.
Glad you
Yeah.
guys enjoyed it.
thanks, Matt. Thanks for giving us some new ideas. So we are coming up on our time. It's crazy how fast this went because this has been so much fun. I've just
Oh
been
man,
laughing
this has
and
been
spending the time with you.
awesome.
Really quick though, Matt, how's the real world treating you? I know you just started your big boy job.
It's keeping me busy. About 12 hours from the time I leave the door to the time I walk back in.
Wow.
So
It's a long drive.
it's fun. I work downtown Pittsburgh, so I drive down there. Thankfully, there's not that much traffic right now because the majority of people are still work from home. But it's really not bad. It's a job, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So
Awesome.
Good. So when was your first day? Was it this week?
yep, it was this week.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations. I
congrats.
hope that you have all the success in that job. I just wanted to ask really quick.
We'll
thank
let you
you
go
very
here real
much.
quick so you can eat dinner, take a shower, and then go to bed because it's probably close to bedtime. It's about 7 o'clock here. Right? No, that was an old person joke. Sorry, Matt.
Well,
But,
it is. I actually ate dinner about 3 hours ago, 4 o'clock. I
Okay,
am
so
old. You got to remember
You got
that.
it. You got it. But I guess Well, we've asked everyone, I think, who's come on, which isn't a lot of people, but who do you want to see on the podcast?
Wow. Got to get Kim on the podcast. How do you not have Kim Kramer on the podcast?
We
She's
chose-
the first one that comes to mind.
We chose you before Kim. How does that make you feel?
That's right, Kim.
Yikes.
You know
Um,
what? We are going based off of the Google Doc that was sent out in an
True.
email to everyone. So if you fill that out, we will definitely have your contact information, definitely know that you want to be on. So everyone, please fill that out because we are trying to be as fair as possible.
do that.
Yeah.
And also, I think you should get Becca the Tuckies, Caroline the Hesses on. That'd be really cool. Maybe do like a big joint episode or something. That'd be awesome.
Wow.
Crossover episode, right?
You know,
Yeah,
like Disney when
absolutely.
we were younger, when like they combined the two shows.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That'd be really cool to see all of them together on one HEALcast. That'd be one you'd have to watch on YouTube.
Definitely. I'm taking notes when you do these, just so you know. That's the real reason I ask these is so I don't have to do the work to find out what people want. I'll just straight up ask them. But yeah, I guess anything else you want to say before your hour of fame comes to an abrupt end?
Well, I just want to say thank you all for having me. It's been so much fun. For all of you newer HEAL members, one of the best experiences of my college career. Cherish every moment of it. And just really do all you can because it's for a great cause. And at the end of the day, you're going to have fun doing it. But Morgan, Bobby, thank you both for having me. I've had a great time. And if you ever want recurring guests, people might be tired of me. But if you ever need recurring guests, I'll be happy to step in and be on again because this is so much fun. I had a great time reliving some old fond memories today.
Always a pleasure with you, Matt Giuliano. Always
Oh,
is, and it
man.
never will not be. So,
Oh, you're making me blush.
Morgan, you have anything to say?
This is awesome. Thank you so much, Matt, for coming on. This was so much fun just to be able to sit down and have this conversation. So thank you again. I hope that the real world continues to treat you well. Yeah, I mean, enjoy adulthood. It's like it's real, man.
It's really real. It is real, man.
You know, I can't get over it. Thinking about like that real life is gonna happen to us soon. You know,
It's coming up for you guys. I mean, I was sitting on the subway the other day and I was like, holy cow, I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
You know, like
sitting on the subway.
I'm like on the subway and it's like, dang, like my friends are either that don't have jobs yet, or just like hanging out, or like you guys just getting ready to go back to school, and I'm like, man, I got to go work my 8 to 5 and drive an hour home. But
Hey, that's life.
Well,
hey, it is life, and
thank
I'm
you for
excited to
taking
be
time.
here.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us. Thanks to all our listeners for taking the time to listen to us. Appreciate it. Thanks for spending an hour with us this week. As always, let us know if you want to see anything different. If you want to be on the HEALcast, we do have a Google form out. Morgan has been doing a great job with getting that out. I don't really know how that goes out or where that is, but she does it. And she gets cool people on here like Matt. So really appreciate that. But go ahead.
Just really quick. So that was sent out in an email. Thanks to Connor, who helped us out with that. He's our admin this year. If you did not get that email and you are listening right now, please reach out to the HEAL email. I believe it's healftk@gmail.com.
Actually, the HEALcast has its own email. So
Whoa.
you could reach out to the HEALcast, all one word, @gmail.com. Shoot us an email. Let us know who you are, what you want to do, what you want to talk about.
Yeah, we'll
and
send you that Google form.
Definitely, yeah.
So yeah, if you're a current member, alumni, whatever family member, whatever you are that you want to join us, please reach out. We definitely want everyone who wants to be on to come on, and are super excited for that. So yeah, I think that's a wrap, guys.
That's a wrap. From all of us here to all of you listening, thanks so much for spending this time with us. We hope you stay happy, healthy, and safe during this time. And remember to keep dancing.